and welcome back to another video. So, yeah, took a week off. Another week off. Because I was on holiday. Had a nice time. Very, very good. So, I come back, and I'm like, Panzer Dragoon. Yes, we're going to talk a little bit about Panzer Dragoon, because I've been plugging in the old Polymega, and I've been playing a lot of Panzer Dragoon. I've also acquired a couple of other bits for this particular series that I haven't had before, which is really cool. So we're going to go kind of chronologically of the games and my sort of exposure to them. So, well, release order or chronologically with the games? Chronologically with the games. That'll do. So, Auto was my first one. Yes, so Panzer Dragoon Auto is the final in the quintology, hextology, whatever. It's the final game in the series that's an original game. So this was released in 2003. Yeah, probably. Probably 2003, so quite a long time. Yeah, 2003. So, the original Team Andromeda, who'd made the original 3 games for the Sega Saturn, sort of disbanded at the end of that project. A lot of them went their own ways. Sort of the lead creator, the creator of the series, went off and founded his own company since then, and then he proceeded to do a few games here and there. The major one most people probably know him for, outside of Panzer Dragoon, is Phantom Dust, which is a hard-to-explain card battler where you're playing a third-person run-around action-adventure game, getting into battles against people in these sort of tight-knit arenas and throwing essentially energy attacks that you build up as part of a deck. So you can sort of see where his style lies. It's in very particularly obscure games that I really, really enjoy. That's probably why I like Panzer Dragoon so much. Sorry. Auto was the first one really without his involvement, which is okay. It was formed by a team called Smilebit, published, well, and created partially by Infogrames that went on to become Atari, which is very weird, but published by Sega for the original Xbox, which is nice. It's nice to have probably the most up-to-date version of this. I've completely forgotten as well one of the versions. Silly, silly boy. Yeah. And another of the versions, but never mind. Wasn't the only exposure. No, it wasn't the only exposure the Panzer Dragoon had on consoles of the 6th generation. Although we'll get back to Auto in a moment. You also had the Sega Ages 2500 re-release of Panzer Dragoon Original. And by re-release, I mean it really just is the PC version. So I do have the PC version. It is, however, heavily buried, and I'm not going to go find it. When this is basically the same version. Now, I haven't actually played this, but you can also get it on here. So it's a nice remaster. Looks really good. There are better ways to play it, but here's one of them. Now, PS2 is a flimsy little console in terms of graphical capability, which is fine. That doesn't really bother me. I mean, hell, I play N64 and Mega Drive and all that sort of stuff. So graphics aren't really a concern for me. But if you really want to play the original Panzer Dragoon that isn't the remake or isn't some hyper textured crap that you'd find on PC, you're going to want to play Panzer Dragoon Auto, because Auto had an expansive range of unlockables in the form of the Pandora's box. Now, rather nicely, these were just all timed. You could literally time all of it. If you left the Xbox on for like 20 hours, it's basically unlocked everything. So I'm yet to do that, mostly for fear of one of the 4 I have breaking. I just don't really want to go down that road where I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, I left it on for 24 hours and it broke. I will at some point maybe just leave the original Xbox on overnight to consume loads of power, because of course, just to get that data, or maybe I'll just buy a memory stick. It's probably easier. But yes, it's a really solid game. It's good. It's a weird one, because your 4th entry in a series is typically your weird one, where it's sort of a reboot, sort of a ending, and this is sort of an ending. So it picks up a lot of the plot lines that actually come from the next game I'm going to majorly talk about, which is Saga. It picks up a lot of what that game put down and runs with it. So you're playing as the daughter of the main protagonist from the first game, Edge. Edge is the main protagonist that you are playing as, and whilst every other game in the series is some kind of rail-based shooter, very similar to something like Space Harrier, or sort of the more linear sections of Star Fox, Panzer Dragoon Saga really isn't. It really isn't. It is a turn-based RPG. Where you are essentially flying around the monsters and you have to position it and sort of time the attacks. It's quite engrossing, because I hate JRPGs. I really do. It's a genre I have tried over and over again to really get into, and I just frickin' can't. I just frickin' can't. Which is a shame. This is the closest I've ever gotten outside of like 6 hours of playing, what was it called? Xenoblade Chronicles X for the Wii U. This was the closest I got, and I played a good amount of Saga. Not enough to really get anywhere, but I have played a decent amount of it, again, mostly on the Polymega. And I've been playing it again recently after installing all of the discs onto that machine, so I don't have to run the risk of breaking a 500 to 600 quid game. So that I can sort of get clued up on what's going on in Orta. And that's been really nice. I have done it with the other 2 games in the series. You've got the original Panzer Dragoon. I've beaten this, which is really cool. It is like an hour. It's not a long game. Not a long game. Until Zwei came out, which is a nice long game. Multiple routes, dragon evolution, tons of secrets, loads of really cool stuff. And it's been nice sort of revisiting this trilogy, because I'm playing it kind of in chronological order. So you've got Zwei, which is a prequel to 1. Then you've got 1. Then you've got Saga, then you've got Orta. You do have a spin-off title that I will get into in a little bit, and you do have a remake as well. Well, a remake of a remake. But yeah. I mean, what's actually quite nice about Orta is I also picked up the strategy guide, which I'm really looking forward to playing. Well, I'll probably play that game through again and see if I can find any hidden secrets, if there are indeed any hidden secrets, which there may or may not be. It kind of covers a lot of the Pandora's Box stuff, but in just enough detail where it doesn't actually tell you anything. So it will be nice to sort of delve into that and see. But yeah. What did I think of Saga? Is a good question while we're back on that tangent. Back from my tangent. I think Saga's probably my favourite after Orta. Orta just kind of jumps the gun a bit by being the first game I played in this series. And it's the first one, it's the only one I've bought that was under like a £5. I bought this for £3 back in 2011 from an old retro game shop in my hometown, which was really cool. Can't for me remember the name of it, but yeah, it's really good. It's a really, really solid game. Saga is a very close second though, and I say that only because it's huge. It's like 20 hours long, which for these, considering the first one's an hour, I could beat that game 20 times in the time it would take me to beat Saga. it's mostly its combat. I like its combat. I do, but it's not as robust or as exciting as something like Auto or the original two. I think a happy medium would have been good, where instead of it being a turn-based JRPG, it was more of an action RPG, random encounters, boss levels, that sort of thing. Bring back the evolution mechanic from Zwei, that'd be really cool. Although you've got sort of a... Yeah, you've got sort of a twisting... You've got 3 different forms in Auto, so maybe that would have been better. Like certain attacks do certain things to certain enemies, so it's about switching on the fly. Something like that. Probably would have jumped Saga from there to here, to here. But yeah, what's that spin-off? Now, I said in the last video I did about this, 2 years ago, I still hadn't got Panzer Dragoon Mini. And here's the kicker, I still haven't bought Panzer Dragoon Mini. This is a reproduction cartridge, and you know what? Okay. That game is so expensive. It's like 300-400 quid for a game that, let's be perfectly honest, is akin to playing an Atari 2600 game on an Xbox One. It's really a waste of money. It's a huge waste of money. So when this cropped up on eBay for like 30 quid, I was like, yeah. Yeah. My wife got it for me last Christmas, which is very nice of her. Thank you very much, dear. And yeah, I've had it since. I haven't played it yet, strictly because my Game Gear has stopped working. Yay. And I need to get it fixed. Yay. Yeah, I've got a few consoles that need to get fixed. Got about 3, 4. I need to get my Lynx fixed as well. Atari Lynx, N64, and a Saturn, and the Game Gear. So 4 consoles. Oh, and a GameCube. So 5 consoles. Great, wonderful. Anyway, yeah. I've seen some of Mini's gameplay. It really isn't worth £400. It really genuinely is not worth £400. It is a impossibly expensive game to buy the original copy of, so if you can, get a repro or do that other thing that people do that they're maybe not supposed to, but also are kind of supposed to. You're me hearties. But, yes. That brings us up to today. Where are we with Panzer Dragoon? Well, Forever Entertainment, who... yeah, have had a habit of making some remakes of Sega games that, let's be fair, have been shit. Like the original House of the Dead remake is not very good, and then you've got the second one, which is not very good. They announced Panzer Dragoon 1 and Panzer Dragoon 2 remake now. They've released the first one, and they haven't released the second, and we're still waiting on it. 4 years down the line, we're still waiting on Panzer Dragoon Remake 2. Yeah, so no Zwei remake, and they had hinted at doing Panzer Dragoon Saga as a remake, which would be really cool, and it would be nice if Sega weren't just throwing out their licenses to any Tom, Dick and Harry, but here we are. We had 3 games announced. Yeah, so back in 2020, I think, we had Panzer Dragoon Remake announced, so bought that, and I think it's fine. I think it's fine. It's nice that they delayed it slightly to add like a patch, which was pretty cool. It's pretty. It looks very good. It doesn't play as well as the original, and some of the original's more ethereal charm is lost by having really hyper-realistic graphics, but if this could maintain that charm, then this could have maintained that charm. Hell, this maintains that charm, and it's only a slightly better looking version of the one you can get on here as part of the Pandora's Box stuff. So why Forever Entertainment can do that, they clearly didn't understand it, and I beat this game in an hour. It was not worth £40. that might be why they haven't released the next one. Just because this one was not very well received. I don't know if it's sold very well. It's perpetually on sale. It is always on sale. So, yeah. I mean, if you want to get... I've got the limited run version. You can just buy this. I think Forever Entertainment... Not Forever Entertainment. Forever Limited. Yeah, Forever Limited. Forever Limited still have a bunch of their limited run prints of, like, the collector's edition of this version. So, if you want to play it, you can either wait for it to be on sale, at which point it will be like £1, or you could get that version, which isn't too bad. I think it's worth it. I think it's a good game. It's just, I've played it once, I haven't really played it since, because there's no point. Meanwhile, with the Zwei remake, there's multiple secrets, there's multiple routes, there's, you know, loads of different things that make this game probably way more replayable than the first. I think of sort of the classic trilogy, it's up there. It's got my favourite structure to it, which is sort of that multiple path route that Saga doesn't have necessarily, by virtue of being sort of kind of open world, sort of kind of open map. Auto doesn't really have that either. It doesn't have routes, it's just got 10 levels. And Saga and the original and the remake have like 5, and you can beat them in about an hour. So realistically, you can beat them in about half an hour. But if you're doing your best. But yeah, it's a tricky one. I mentioned there were 3 games. Yes, there was something called Panzer Dragoon Voyage Record, which was supposed to be a VR title focused around different levels of Panzer Dragoon, sort of throughout the series. So you had some from Zwei, some from 1, some from Saga, some from Auto, which is really, really cool. But then that project just disappeared. Voyage Record being VR, Panzer Dragoon VR, which would have been really cool. Or PDVR. Never happened, which is lame. I did reach out to the guy who was supposedly running it on Twitter about 4 years ago. Nothing. It is dead. There was a rumour he died, like the lead programmer, but it just seems that the whole project is just gone, which sucks. Because it's a series that really needs revisiting. Its halcyon days were clearly the Sega Saturn, especially with Saga. But like the source code for this is missing. The source code for a lot of Sega stuff from that era is just gone. They'd have to remake this game from the ground up, and as a result, it just wouldn't play the same. Which is probably okay if you don't like the combat, but I do. So, yeah. It would suck. But at the same time, if you want to play Panzer Dragoon Saga, you either have to shell out £600, or you have to do it the other way that I mentioned, are me hearties. So yeah, it's a pity. Now, rather nicely, I have installed it on my Polymega, as I said, so I could just plug that bad boy in and play it whenever the hell I want. I was playing it the other day. It's very good. But, yeah, it's a bit of a sour note to end on. So, I think maybe next week we will be doing a pickups video, or I'll do something else. I do have I have an updated top 10 list, because as I said, my top 10 lists change frequently. They do change frequently. It's my top 10 video games of all time, and there has been basically the entire last fifth, the second half of it. It's basically changed. Certain games have been knocked out, certain games were just not contenders in the first place, and certain games have been re-added, as with the case of number 2. So, yes, I will catch you probably for that down the line. And, yeah, I will see you next time.